Welcome everyone to the Rebirth Mark II of Full Time. From this day forward, this program will be known as the Soccer OG. That's me. I call it the Soccer OG because yours truly has been involved in this sport, bringing it to you, bringing every league, every nook and cranny of the sport for 25 years. I know I look like I'm 25, but I've been working this for 25 years. So this is the place where you can go. It's still going to be analysis, punditry, editorial, but it's also going to be a historical document. These Soccer OGs will be coming out with some more frequency, and I will be telling you what's important to me in the game. I'll look back at my favorite players, teams, moments. Should be a lot of fun. This episode will follow the format of Full Times in the past, but just with a cooler name and this really fantastic studio. Bredos Studio One. I've created 3 studios in my home. This one's great. Second one, third one's a curtain. But I'm very excited about it. So this episode, I'm going to focus on the return of soccer, football, and its return is going to happen, and it's going to happen sooner than later. As I pointed out last week, there are machinations right now where things are going to happen even quicker than you could have ever imagined. Who is going to be first? You know, in the big picture, we will remember that, but to a lesser degree. But obviously, all eyes of soccer will turn to that first league or first couple leagues that come back, because it'll be the only show in town. And that appears to be the Bundesliga. Germany, who have been applauded for handling the outbreak of the Wuhan virus incredibly well, how there are certain ways that Germans are, and they listen, and they certainly all got on board of this, and they were able to squash things much quicker than their neighbors here in the United States as well. So now sports is coming back. In fact, the training has begun. Bundesliga players have begun training. It's in small groups of 3 or 4. They can't have too many guys using the gym, etc. And this is the way it's going to be. Baby steps, which is fine, because the good news is soccer is coming back. They've also announced that they will not have fans until 2021. So you have like 7-8 games remaining, and then you have what would have been your summer. And then they'll pick things up probably August, maybe a little bit later, September. I'd imagine more September. And then they wouldn't have anything until 2021. I wish they could reconsider that a little bit. I think it's probably smart to say 2021. But at some point, you know, these are all gradual steps. It's going to be frustrating. And I will put it this way too. When all of us come out of this quarantine, we're going to get hit like a fist with the return to civilization. Very bad comparison, but like guys who were stuck in World War II and they roll out and they're like, whoa, how the world has changed. The world hasn't changed that much, but it's going to be startling. Having conversations in public, going into public, doing things that you took for granted that you can't. It's going to mess us up. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And that's going to take a process. We'll go out one day, we'll get used to it. It's going to take weeks, months, maybe even longer than that. So we're all going to go through that. Sports is going to do that, bringing back the sports, letting them train, small groups, bigger groups. But I would like to see them allow fans to come in 500, 1,000, 5,000. Get them around the stadium. Give a little atmosphere. Give people hope. So maybe that's in the cards. Eintracht Frankfurt, Gelson Fernandez, one of their players. I think many remember him, Swiss international. He says he feels lucky. It's good. Getting outdoors finally. And this process seems very well thought out. The reason Germany is able to get through is because they were able to agree on so many things that other leagues have not. And I'll get to that here shortly. Pay cuts. We've talked about sweeping pay cuts, league-wide pay cuts, individual pay cuts, deferrals. In Germany, they agreed. Most teams agreed 20 to 30% of a pay cut. Union Berlin, who are in 11th place in the Bundesliga, agreed to not accept wages whatsoever. So a wonderful gesture from them, a small club. They're not making a ton of money compared to other Bundesliga teams. But that's still an incredible thing that they are doing, and I want to give them props, and everyone should as well. But they've agreed to all these things, and they got up to it. The Serie A, Italy, a country that was the lion's den for the outbreak of the virus, is now even considering or is moving along a return plan. Stunning. Italy, Italia, Serie A, coming back possibly in May. They, like Germany, have said no fans until 2021. When you hear it from the Italians, you take it at face value. You say, so be it, no fans. Knowing what they went through. Life has changed very much in Italy, and it won't return anytime soon, more so than anywhere else. There was a leaked document from the Italian press that they mentioned that they weren't going to let fans. So this is where it came from. A leaked document saying we're coming back, we're not letting fans in, and another report saying in May. So the Serie A of all leagues planning a return. Other leagues will follow. Then you have the Premier League. And we've talked about this big plan for them coming back, this huge event, TV event in the summer. I think it's going to happen, but we're talking June or July. Now we're hearing 4 games a day at Wembley, and they funnel in teams and players, which would be really cool for all of us watching at home. But England's had a real problem agreeing on anything with regards to the return. Pay cuts. We talked about it last week. Players didn't want to go in the NHS, the government plan there, where some teams can agree to accepting part of those the monetary returns. Others say the clubs should be responsible. This back and forth. What percentage do they take? Do you do the blanket pay cuts? Players afraid that they're going to take a pay cut and the team's going to sign some player from outside and he's going to be making more money than everyone else. Arsenal players at odds about the percentage of the pay cut. The Pro Footballers Association advising players to take the deferral, not the pay cut. Nobody's agreeing on anything. I'm not blaming anyone, but other countries are getting this done. Granted, the money in the Premier League miles ahead of everyone else, and that causes a problem. It also should really encourage them to get back, because the money, as we said in past weeks, it would have to go back to the TV partners if they don't have games. And that's a big dollar sign or pound sterling sign. But the Premier League continues to sit here and get further away. They've got to figure out something. It really comes down club by club and relationships. You know, there are clubs that have a good relationship with their owners. There are clubs that have never even met their owner. You know, foreign investors here and there. It's tricky. But we have to go case by case because it's not getting done. They will not be the first league back. We know that now. And it may change the Premier League and the crazy amount of money going back and forth in everything, in transfers, in TV deals, because the product's not going to come around. It's stunning when you read how affected everyone, players, clubs, agents, even the clubs that you thought were well off, have labored in this return. It's difficult for everyone, but it's proving to be more difficult in England. What about Major League Soccer? Major League Soccer suspended play March the 12th. They had set a return to action May the 10th. I imagine that gets pushed back here a little bit, but not a lot, maybe into June. The return to training, that was originally at April 3rd. It's been pushed back to April 24th. That happened on April the 2nd. And the small increment, 3 weeks, some people do increments of 6 weeks, 8 weeks. The small tells me their intent is to come back on April 24th, probably do something similar that the Germans are doing, 3-4 guys, and then you build up to it. I think they're going to come back to training April 24th. When they come to play, I would say June, but don't hold me up to it. Interesting things happening in the United States as well. President Trump is trying to get a return to the economy by April 30th, or they're in and about. Governors in states affected like New York, New Jersey, out here in California, they are not announcing that. They're digging their feet in and saying, how does that affect the teams in those areas? This is a big country. That's going to be interesting to see, and if some teams have to move around a bit because, you know, the local governments should have a lot of jurisdiction on here, and they're very serious about it. I'm here in Los Angeles. What you hear there is very different what you hear from the federal. Depending on what you believe, it's going to affect the return for some of these teams in those areas. There you have it. I hope you enjoy the new digs. Let me know what you think. Please subscribe to my YouTube page, Max Predos. Subscribe. It helps so I can bring this to the masses. You know, these wood panelings don't pay for themselves, man. You know, we need your help. But thank you very much. And coming soon, some very cool stuff from the Soccer OG.